Hey folks, Dolphin Dale here. I have got a huge stack of movies to show you. I got a tip when I was at the Dollar Tree on Thursday that they would be putting out. The lady told me she'd be putting out movies first thing Saturday morning. And true to her word, when I got there at 9 o'clock when they opened, that's exactly what she was doing. She was putting out the new movies. So I got first look. So let's. I just got through kind of looking at trailers, so I can maybe talk about some of these movies because there were a lot that I didn't know a whole lot about. It just kind of interested me, and I picked them up. So let's jump right in there. All right. So first up, Wolverine versus Sabretooth. This is a. I know what these are. This is not an animated movie per se. It is a what they call I believe a stop motion comic or a motion comic, and so this will be kind of based off of previous graphic novel, I guess, or something like that. Anyway, it won't be fully animated. So it's close to a cartoon. Anyway, they're very cool. I've got a bunch of these. I've got some X-Men. I've got an Iron Man one, and they're always entertaining. Next up, Tom and Jerry, the Gene Deitch collection. Now, I had to look him up. I know a little bit about some of the animators out there. He's an American animator that moved overseas after he met his first wife, stayed over there. I think he was based in Prague. I think he's still living. According to the Wikipedia page, I think he's 95 and living in Prague. Anyway, some interesting aspects. He initially was not a big fan of the violence that he saw on Tom and Jerry until he realized that people don't really take that violence seriously. And then he kind of saw a biblical aspect, which I thought was interesting, of Tom and Jerry being a kind of a David versus Goliath adaptation of sorts, I guess. Or at least drawing on those type of themes of even if you're the smaller guy, you can, if not prevail, at least survive against the Goliaths in this world. But anyway, I love Tom and Jerry. Great cartoon. And so I was glad to pick that up. Next up, Nicky Law. I don't know. I guess it's because I'm such a Courage the Cowardly Dog fan, I thought I'd take a shot at this. Apparently, this was based off of a children's book. The original author died before the book first saw print, which is a shame. But it's about a rabbit that is, I guess, a vampire that sucks the blood out of vegetables. Sucks the juice out of vegetables. And so, from what I understand, I believe this cat up here is the main character that narrates and perceives Bunnicula to be a real threat. Sounds cute. I'll give it a shot. I like cartoons. All right, the next one I picked up because, it's The Town That Came A-Courtin'. It is got Valerie Harper in it. Lauren Holly is the star of it. But this was probably the last I won't say major motion picture, the last long film that Valerie Harper was in before she died. We all know Valerie Harper. Well, all of us that are old enough remember her from Mary Tyler Moore's show as Rhoda. So pick that up. I think that's going to be like a romantic comedy type thing. Pick this up. Chosen. Every nobody is somebody. Couldn't even find a trailer on this, but we've got John Schneider, who I like a lot. We've got Robert Davey, who I've seen in a lot of stuff. And then, of course, we've got Ernie Hudson from Ghostbusters. And this is a faith-based film. I just don't know much about it because I couldn't even find a trailer. And I I was tried just about everything in the YouTube search to try to dig one up. Couldn't find it. Now this next one was interesting. It's called Remember. Now a lot of your Dollar Tree videos, they've got this imprint ITN and E1, and at first I thought I found it, but it was the same companies have put out another movie called Remember. That's about a guy that it has some kind of Holocaust theme where it's present day and he's hunting for some Nazi guy. I don't know. Anyway, that's not this movie. This movie is a sci-fi movie where they're it says here on the back, in the year 2050, society now relies on memory-blocking drugs to cope with their lives while the state separates children from their parents at birth. Captain Carl Onaway's job is to protect children from adults who attempt to reunite with their children. However, following a traumatic incident, Carl receives a series of unusual messages that challenge him to remember his past. What does a man do when he finds himself on the right side of the law, but on the wrong side of the truth? I kind of looked at the trailer. It looks very low budget, but might be worth a spin. Couldn't pass this up. Quantum Voyage. Don't know a whole lot about it, but we've got Dean Cain, Superman from Lois and Clark, and man, one of my favorite guys to ever don the Superman cape. And then Malcolm McDowell, who I discovered watching Star Trek Generations, and what a great villain he played in that movie. That's all I needed to see. This next movie is called Susie's Hope, based on a true story. It stars Emmanuel Vaguier. I don't know how it looks like a French name. She's gorgeous. And I've seen her in a ton of stuff. And I was trying to remember where. I looked at the credits, her filmography, and I think I'm remembering she had a recurring role, I think, on Smallville as Lex Luthor's love interest. She also was on one of my favorite TV shows of all time, Highlander, the TV series. On an episode of that. She's also been on Monk. She's been on a lot of shows that I like. Very, very busy lady. But she's playing, in this movie, she's playing a young woman who discovers a dog that has been kind of brutally mistreated, and she tries to help that dog cope and get better. So, it looks like a good movie for animal lovers. This next movie didn't take much to convince me to pick it up. The Lost City, look at that cast. We're talking Andy Garcia, Dustin Hoffman, and Bill Murray. Andy Garcia played one of my favorite, great actor that played Arturo Sandoval in one of my favorite movie biopics, For Love or Country. Of course, Dustin Hoffman, great actor, and we probably best remember him for Rayman and Kramer versus Kramer. And then, of course, what can you say about the legendary Bill Murray? How many great movies was he in? I think, everybody thinks about Ghostbusters and Stripes and Caddyshack and Scrooged. I think my favorite Bill Murray film is What About Bob? So, yeah, for $1, I wouldn't pass on any of three of those gentlemen for $1. And then I picked this up. It's a part of a season of Ghost Hunters. Probably some of the goofiest stuff that I ever watch. But I like to watch them go out to different locations because it just kind of interests me. I'm not a believer in ghosts. I'm a Christian. I believe that your soul goes wherever God determines it's going to go. I don't believe he misplaces anybody's soul here on earth. Spiritual warfare, yeah, I believe it exists. The Bible talks about it, but I don't know what that looks like. And I just don't think that it's what we think about as far as ghosts go. But at the same time, I think about these kind of locations I go to, and I often think, well, if I were alone, because we've got one here in Louisville. It's called Waverly Hills, and they've done a whole special on Waverly Hills, and a lot of your haunted house type shows. They like to use Waverly Hills. It's a sanatorium. Waverly Hills Sanatorium was a place where back, I guess it was 1940, somewhere in there, tuberculosis was big, and a lot of people died there. There's some argument over how many people actually died there, but they have, it's a huge, I've been there for an actual haunted house, and it's a huge structure. I would love to go through the whole thing, and I mean the actual sanatorium, not just the haunted house section that they had. Yeah, I would love to see it. I'd love to see the body chute. It's an amazing structure, but I've often wondered, even though I don't really believe in ghosts, what is it? Is it the flight or fight reflex that we have that keeps us on edge in a place like that? Could I actually walk through that structure late at night and not be scared? I don't know. It's a really creepy structure. So I guess that's my interest in stuff like this. I do like to see the different locales. So that's all for the DVDs. Now I've got a big stack of Blu-rays to show. Did you think I was done? All right, I know we're getting late, so let's kind of go through these. First is ComicCon, episode 4 of Fans Hope. Up top it says that Stan Lee and Joss Whedon are in here. I saw the trailer. Kevin Smith is also in it. Looks like it's kind of a documentary, kind of looking at talking to several people, from cosplayers to actual aspiring artists to people that just go to these type of conventions, and kind of looking at why they go and what they get out of it and all that kind of thing. Looks fascinating, and I'm a big comic book geek. So next up, comedy Hail Caesar. looks promising. Has a very good cast. Scarlett Johansson and Ralph. I don't even know how to say his last name. Ralph Fiennes. Of course, George Clooney is in it. Josh Brolin. A lot of good people. Channing Tatum. Jonah Hill. Directed by Joel and Ethan Coen. So, grab that. This looks like it's promising. Trash with Martin Sheen and Rooney Mara. Looks like it could be some type of action film, but it has a definite message, and looks like it's a good one. These kids are really put through the ringer, and it kind of examines why do they hang in there and try to do the right thing, because it's the right thing to do. So that makes me want to watch that movie. All right, next, Panic in the Streets. I almost blew right by this. I didn't know what it was. It didn't look. Then I realized, I don't think that's just because it's low budget. I think it's because that kind of cover looks that way, because it's a classic movie. And sure enough, I flipped it over, saw the old time movie poster shown up here. And probably the one thing that made me really pause was realizing that looks like somebody I've seen before. And sure enough, yes, it's Jack Palance. It's that classic jawline of his. And so I've seen the trailer for this. This looks promising as well. Very cool to find this kind of classic movie there. I've seen, there's another one, there's a Rock Hudson, Doris Day. I did not find that. That was the other classic. That was the classic movie I was hoping to stumble across, but did not. I've been seeing in other Dollar Tree videos. All right, next up, Killing Kennedy. Saw a trailer on this, and Rob Lowe looked amazing as President John F. Kennedy. So, grab that. Next up is a sci-fi movie. Quite a cast on it, too. Michael Shannon, Joel Edgerton, Kristen Dunst, Adam Driver, of course, from the latest Star Wars movies, and then Sam Shepard. It's called Midnight Special. Apparently this little boy has special powers and people are after him. And so it's kind of a sci-fi thriller. Looks promising. Very thrilled to see this next movie, The Resurrection of Gavin Stone. It's a Christian movie. Really, I can't tell you the premise. I didn't even bother to look at the trailer on this. Why did I want to see this one so bad? Because it's HBK as the ex-con, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, the greatest in-ring performer in World Wrestling Federation history. My favorite wrestler of all time. And then, of course, we got the dude that from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that is Brett Dalton. Don't know that I really know anybody else in this cast, but yeah, I'm not passing HBK up for $1, even if it is a bit part. I want to see what he's doing. All right, so next we got Any Given Sunday, the Oliver Stone film about football that was probably a little over the top, but for $1 to get it on Blu-ray, yeah. And then finally, I picked up a documentary series called Lawmen of the Old West. It's always interesting stuff. So that is my haul from the Dollar Tree this time around. And so we've got another location. I don't know if I'll get out there before they get picked over or not. We'll see. If I do, I'll make another video. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I look forward to seeing some other folks' Dollar Tree videos as well. So, for me, for my cats who apparently have abandoned me, Jake and Aretha, we hope everyone's having a great weekend. We'll see you soon.